After losing to Georgia, Alabama refilled its tanks, came out with great energy and effort, and laid a beatdown on Auburn to close out SEC regular play, winning 96-84 as Alabama won 9 of its last 10 SEC games and secures the number 2 seed in the SEC tournament and has locked up at least a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Welcome to another episode of the Bamateur Hour podcast. I'm Bama John. I've got Will K with me. Today is Sunday, March 8th, 2026 in the year of our Lord. Thank you for tuning in. We now have over 8,800 subscribers to the YouTube channel, headed to 10,000 and beyond. All right, Will, the Ides of March here. It's March Madness. It's SEC tournament week. It's conference tournament week as we gear up for Selection Sunday a week from today. And Alabama gets a big win over Auburn. All right, give me your thoughts. I think you watched the whole game. Give me your quick thoughts on the game, and we're going to jump into the whole game. So go ahead.
Yeah, it was more of a beatdown than the score indicated. They kind of came back towards the end there, but we were up by 20 plus for a lot of the game. Only shot 25% from three. Had a lot more rebounds than they did, more blocks, and they had more turnovers. I don't know what happened to Auburn. They're just not as good this year. I think you disagree with me, but I don't think they should be in the tournament. One game above 500, lost to Ole Miss. They did beat Florida, but I mean that's the only redeeming thing for them. So yeah, it was a good win, and we'll just see who we play for the tournament.
Well, and here's what I'll say about Auburn deserving to be in the tournament or not. They're a bubble team. So, if you're a bubble team, don't cry to me if you get left out. If they get in, they get in because they have 3 quad one wins. And I think they're 9-2 or 11-2 against quad two teams. But yeah, they got a bunch of losses too. I think they lost to 11 or 12 quad one teams. So they didn't do well against the best. They have no chance of winning the NCAA tournament. If they get left out, wah, wah, wah. So,
Yeah.
I don't really care that much whether they're in or out. I just think there's a chance they're going to sneak in as one of the last teams to get in, but we don't care. We care about Alabama. That's what we care about. The
Yeah.
great thing about that game is we started out on an 8-0 run and jumped on them 8-0. And then I think they cut it to 8-5, and then we quickly stretched it out to a 12-point lead. And we were just clicking on all cylinders in the first half. We played good defense. I don't know how much you watched of the Georgia game Tuesday night, but we were flat. We had no energy. We were out
Yeah.
of gas. Our effort, I think the quick turnaround after that tough game against Tennessee on Saturday and getting that huge win there, we were out of gas. And I think after getting humiliated at Georgia, winning that game at Georgia, and had we won this, probably would have locked up a 3 seed. Right now, I think we're a 4 seed, borderline 3 seed, and there's a big difference.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. But I just think we had tons of energy. Our guys were ramped up. Amari Allen looked like how he had looked in the middle of the season. The last couple of games, he played poorly, didn't contribute a lot. Lyndon Jemison didn't contribute a lot. They both had good games. Phylon was playing well. Holloway was playing well. Wrightsell was out there Wrightsell was out there contributing to the to the effort. It wasn't his best game. It wasn't his best shooting game, but we just looked like we were our best Alabama self in that game, and Auburn got blasted, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So we jumped on them, and by half, we were up by 19, 50-31. So I felt like the game was over unless we came out and just laid a complete egg and, we're out of gas. We just blew them out in the first half. I didn't really see anything to criticize in the first half. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that half, but I thought we played one of our best halves of basketball. I thought it was a performance on both ends. We were rebounding. We were playing good defense. We weren't turning the ball up. Auburn was missing shots. They just looked out of sorts, and we just looked like we were humming and we were firing on all cylinders.
Yep. Scored 50 and only gave up 31. That's a pretty good half.
That was spectacular,
Yeah.
and second half was fine. I thought for the first 10 minutes, second half, we extended the lead out to 28. I thought we were going to get it above 30, and then I thought we just kind of we kind of laid off the accelerator. We took our foot off the gas, and
Alabama seems to do that both in basketball and football.
yeah.
Like with I mean, not to bring this to football or whatever, I've just kind of noticed that. Like when we get a big lead in football or basketball, we kind of just let them come back a little bit and not let them win, but they makes the score look closer than what actually happened.
I think in this, at least in this game, I think Oates rested Phylon some. He kind of subbed out the starters, and there's a noticeable drop off when you've got Noah Williamson in there. Sherrell's out of the game.
Sure.
And, Jalel Bethea, I was high on him, and I thought he'd really contribute to this team, but he has not. So then he played some minutes. And, you were taking Holloway out and giving him some rest. So we just didn't have our best. I think we got a 6 or 7 man rotation that's pretty good if you include Millette and you include Jemison. But when you start going beyond that and bringing in Bethea and bringing in Taylor Ball Bowen and certainly Williamson, the play drops off. And I think that last 10 minutes, those guys were out there a lot, and it just opened the door for Auburn to get back in the game and make it closer and make it respectable. Because,
No, I've obviously he's probably hit one, but I don't think I've actually seen Taylor Bolbowen hit a three-pointer
he
this year.
has. He's
I
hit
know
some.
I know he has, but I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, no, he's hit quite a few. Unlike Noah Williamson, who hasn't hit one this season and was supposed to be a good 3-point shooting big.
He was like the wherever conference he came from, he was like the player of the year
Yeah,
from that
yeah,
conference.
yeah, and he can't play with the big boys in the SEC. So
Apparently
um,
not.
disappointing. But and on a really exciting note, LeBaron had 16 points in the first half, including scoring his 1,000th point as an Alabama player. So Phylon's really turned it up this year. I don't know if you've noticed how much more consistent and how much better he is this year than last year, but I think he's having
Yeah.
a great season.
Yep. Should be a first round draft pick.
He will be. I think he'll be a top 15 draft pick. So he's
Yeah.
really played himself into a money, and he came back. And had he gone to the NBA last year, had he made a roster, he would have sat on the bench. He
Yeah.
would not have developed. His game would not have gotten better. And I think he's gotten so. How good is he shooting threes now? Last year, when he shot threes, I wasn't confident they were going to go in. This
No.
year, he's money. You leave him open, he's going to kill you. I think he missed one open three in that Auburn game, but he's been great from three, and his turnovers have gone down. He plays harder. He scores effortlessly with both hands, and he scores at all three levels. I know Nate Oates doesn't like that, but he scores at all three levels, and I just love the way Phylon has played this year. Tremendous.
Oh yeah, he's been really good. Yeah, I mean he wasn't, last year we had Mark Sears and I don't even think he was a starter for
No,
most of last
he
year.
started, except he got injured at some point, but he did start most of the year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, they had Chris Youngblood, but Wrightsell got hurt and didn't play. And
Mm.
Millette was kind of off and on. Youngblood started a lot, but Phylon, when he was healthy, was in the starting lineup. But I felt like last year he'd get 20 points in one game and then he'd have 4 points in the next game. And it was like his floor was 4 to 5 points. His ceiling was about 22. This year, I feel like his floor is like 12 points and his ceiling's like 40. And,
Yeah.
and he's just elevated everything about his game. I think his defense is more consistent. He gets more steals. I just love the fact that he came back and he's done this, and now he's got 1,000 points. That's a huge deal to get 1,000 points in 2 years.
Yeah.
Huge deal. So I just love it. I mean, he may not be a first team All American, but he should definitely be a second team, third team All American at a minimum. And definitely first team All SEC. Had a great season. Love the guy. I'm really excited, and he's going to be the guy that's going to carry us however far we get in the tournament. If he doesn't play well, we're likely going to lose. So we're going to go as far as he can carry us, but he needs Holloway to contribute. He needs Allen and Sherrell and Jemison and Millette and Wrightsell and those guys to contribute, but he's the leader of the band and he's the straw that stirs the drink. So
Yeah.
it's been really fun. And Holloway played really well as well. And what's been nice, it seems like in this, we're 9-1 over the last 10 games, and we were 4-4 going into that stretch. And I think we're like at 7th or 8th in the SEC. And then we go on this 8-game winning streak, 9-1, and all of a sudden we're second in the SEC, number 2 seed in the tournament. What a great
Yeah,
stretch.
Vanderbilt really fell off a cliff there. I mean, they were, I mean, I think number 2 at one point, and then I see the rankings are like 8. Guess we kind of switched with them.
We did, and they had some tough losses. They had some injuries, kind of what we've gone through all season. When Vanderbilt was undefeated, all of a sudden they had a couple of their key guys get hurt, and then they're taking losses. And they played, let's face it, they played a weak non-conference schedule. I don't know if you've seen their schedule, but like one of their best wins in the non-conference, like Seton Hall. They didn't beat any really good. They didn't play a tough schedule like we did. And so when they got
Yeah,
into the meat of the SEC schedule,
they
playing
had trouble.
Tennessee, playing Arkansas, going to Texas, having to play Florida, yeah, they took some losses. And quite honestly, we should have beaten them, but Sherrell was out the whole game, and Filine cramped up and couldn't play in the second half. And so when our two best players aren't playing and they're at full strength, they're better than we are.
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's face it, we have a big man problem on this team. That's our biggest weakness is the front court. We just don't
Yeah.
have enough big men. We don't have enough guys that can protect the rim, that can rebound, and that can score in the low post when they get the ball in the low post. And that's the weakness. And so without Sherrell, our best guy at Vanderbilt, and then Philon ineffective in the second half, we were done.
Yep.
So we're better than Vanderbilt, and it shows. I mean, that's why we're second in the conference, and they're whatever they are, 7th or 8th or wherever they finished. And they're good. I mean, they're an NCAA quality team, but they're not a contender for the Final Four. So,
No.
and a couple of notable performances, and this is getting back to what I think is tremendous. Is it felt like last year we weren't able to have Holloway, and even the first part of this year, both Holloway and Philon wouldn't score 20 points in the same game. One guy would go for 20 and the other guy would have 12. Or sometimes
Yeah.
Holloway would only have 5 or 6. But last night, Holloway goes for 21. LeBaron has 21. LeBaron has 21 points. He only had 1 rebound, but he had 4 assists, 1 steal. He did have 2 turnovers, but had a really great game. And they had to worry about Philon. And when they're having to guard Philon, it just makes it easier for everybody else. And then Holloway goes for 21 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 turnover. And when both of those guys are clicking and getting 20 points, we're hard to beat.
Yep.
Unless you're Florida.
Exactly.
So, and then Sherrell had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 1 turnover, solid game. And then I thought another thing that was huge in this game was Amari Allen reemerged and had a really strong game. London Jemison reemerged. Those guys have been MIA for the last 3 or 4 games. Allen goes for 16 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, and only 1 turnover. Jemison goes for 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and only 1 turnover. So we had 5 guys get in double figures, and those 2 freshmen really bringing it and playing well. That was huge in the game for us, and we're going to need them if we're going to go to the Elite 8 or the Final Four. Those 2 guys are going to have to play really well and help shore up the front court, because we know Sherrell's good, but he just doesn't have a whole lot of help.
Yeah. He doesn't. Kind of has to do it by himself.
So I was super pleased about what Allen did, what Jemison did, and seeing those guys reemerge. And maybe they hit the freshman wall. I don't know. Maybe 3 or 4 games during this 8-game winning streak, they're just out of gas. And when you're winning tough game after tough game, you have a letdown. And I thought that's what Georgia was. So it's nice to bounce back and get that win. All right, further thoughts on this win over Auburn? I mean, there's not a lot to criticize from my standpoint. Your thoughts?
Nope. I think I saw a stat where it was our sixth wire-to-wire win, meaning
Yeah.
we did never trail in this game.
Yeah, we jumped up on them 8-0, and after that we led the whole way and got up to 28 points. So that's huge.
Winning wire-to-wire is pretty impressive too, doing that 6 times. I mean, I think that's pretty good.
Well, and to do it against your big rival into the game, and it was a super meaningful game. Auburn needed to win this game if they wanted to have an assured spot in the NCAA tournament and get a bid, and they
But no,
didn't. And they didn't. They fell flat. We
I mean, I don't know what to say. Beat Ole Miss at home. I think,
Yeah, don't lose to LSU and whoever else they lost to. I think they've lost like 8 of 9 or something ridiculous.
yeah,
So a couple of stats. Bama made 36 field goals to just 30 for Auburn. Alabama out rebounded Auburn 42-28. So we out rebounded them by 14. And Alabama had 19 offensive rebounds to just 9 for Auburn. That's really the tail of the game right there. We made more field goals than they did. We out rebounded them by 14, and we had 10 more offensive boards. And that was pretty much game over. Oh, here's the other stat. We had 58 points in the paint to just 32 for Auburn. Which what I really loved about that, and tell me if you noticed this, not all of those points in the paint were right at the rim. I think Phylon and Holloway do a really good job of pulling up prior to getting into the teeth of the defense and hitting mid ranges, floaters, step backs. I think they've both gotten really good at not forcing the ball at the rim and then getting their shot blocked.
yep,
And that's a key thing is we got to score at all three levels. And even though we weren't hitting threes, we didn't shoot a great percentage on threes in this game. I thought we scored effectively at all three levels and also got to the free throw line and finished there. And those things are going to be important to me. If we're going to win, we have to hit mid-range shots rather than taking the ball to the rim and getting our shot blocked.
absolutely. Yep.
And I don't think we did that effectively when Florida blew us out down there. So we got to score at all three levels. And if you look at any team that wins the NCAA, that's what they do. They score at all three levels, not just threes and at shots at the rim. They score at all three levels. They take the best shot they can get. They make free throws. They do all that. So given the fact that we are big man deficient and size deficient, we're that much more reliant on having to score at all three levels and get good open shots at whatever level, not just at the rim and three. So I think that's
Yeah,
really, really important.
that's what makes Florida so good. I know that um their bigs are just so good. You know, this year they were at the beginning of the year they lost a few. Boogie Flan didn't look good. Xavier Lee didn't look good. I was like, this team's okay. They're not going to be like last year, but now probably going to be a 1 seed again out of nowhere. They've just kept winning and winning. Chinulu, Condon, Thomas Hall, they're all playing great, so they'll probably be a 1 seed again
Yeah,
and
their
win the
front court
ACC.
was great all season, but their back court really struggled. I think it took Xavier Lee half the season to get used to playing at the Power Five level. and,
Yep.
and to play against the Michigans, the Dukes, the Arizonas, the Connecticut's, and to be able to handle that because he'd been playing in the Ivy League. And then Boogie Flan didn't have a good start to the season either. And then is it Crabshar? He's that European shooting guard. He's really come on as well. So those guys, when they clicked in, then Auburn went from, let's say, maybe the fourth best team in the SEC when those guards started making shots, quit turning the ball over, playing defense. Yeah, they went up to a 1 seed, and I'm confident. I hate to say it, but they're going to win the SEC tournament. I don't see anybody beating them in the SEC. Do you? Do you think anybody can challenge them?
No, I don't think so.
I think they're going to mow through it, and they're going to be a number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So I think we're both in agreement. It's all about the guards because they had great guard play last year, and all their bigs came back, so they didn't lose anybody in the front court. So I think Florida can win it again.
I'm not sure that they'll win the whole thing. Um,
No, I mean I think they can win the NCAA again. I'm not saying they will, but I think they can. I think they're that good.
I guess any 1 seed could, but I think that there are some bigger buzzsaws out there that can compete with them. Duke, Michigan, Arizona, teams like that.
I think those are the only three teams that can beat them, quite
Yeah.
honestly. And I think they can beat any one of those teams, or I think they can beat all three of them. So
Yeah.
I would kind of put those four, and we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but I think those are the four contenders to cut the nets down. I'll be surprised if any other team besides one of those four cuts the nets down.
So you think it'll be chalk again this year?
I'm not saying they're all making the final four, but I think one of those four is going to cut the nets down. One of
Yeah.
them might get upset and not make the final four, but it wouldn't surprise me if all four make it. They're just heads and shoulders above the other teams. I think they have less holes. They have good guards. They have good wings. They have good big men. I think all four of those teams have every position filled and they have depth too. It's not like they just have five guys, they have eight or nine guys. So I
Yeah.
see less holes in those teams than I do any other team.
Yeah.
More NBA
Absolutely.
players, more height, more strength, more they shoot the ball well. So that's my thought.
Yeah.
So Bama, I think they're slotted as a 4 seed right now, unless you have any other information. But I think if we get to the finals of the SEC tournament and lose to Florida, I think we're a 3 seed. So I think we're in that 3-4 range. Today, I would say we're a 4 seed. But I think it's huge for Alabama to go in the SEC tournament and get to the finals. Even if we lose to Florida, get to the finals, because I think we're not making the Elite Eight unless we're a 3 seed or a 2 seed.
Yep. Because, you get to the Sweet 16, you're probably going to play a one seed. Who knows? You
You
might
are.
play, might
You're
play
going
an
to
eight
play
or
a
a
one
nine
seed.
upset, but
No, you're
doubtful.
going to play a 1 seed. Those guys are not losing to the Sweet 16. And I think as a 4 seed, we don't want to see Florida in the Sweet 16. We don't want to see Michigan in the Sweet 16. We don't want to see Arizona again in the 316 in that, in that range. And we don't want to see Duke. We don't want to see any of those teams. And to me, I don't want to play them until the Elite Eight.
No.
And
Rather play. I mean, who would the 2 and 3 seeds be? Maybe like a Kansas perhaps or a Texas Tech. That would be a lot more appealing than a Duke or a Michigan.
yeah, no, I think as if we're a 3 seed, the 2 seeds you could see as a Michigan State. I don't think Purdue's in the 2 seed range anymore, but UConn's going to be a 2 seed. We could see UConn,
Iowa State.
St. John's, Iowa State, Texas Tech. Those are the likely 2 seed candidates. And I think now how we could get a 2 seed.
Win the SEC.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I think if we
Doubtful.
do that, and beat Florida and win the SEC tournament, I think we could get a 2 seed. But I think it's 3 or 4. And I think depending on our seeding, if we're a 4 seed, I don't see us getting past the Sweet 16. If we're a 3 seed, I see us getting to the Elite Eight. And then the only way we're getting to the Final Four is if we just have one of those nights where we're just out of our minds, just everything's going in. We're rebounding really well. We send five guys to the boards, and somehow the team we're playing just has an off night or one of their best players gets injured.
Yeah.
But I kind of see that as the ceiling of this team is either Sweet 16, Elite Eight. I don't think we can. I'm not going to predict, and I wouldn't bet that we'd make the Final Four.
Yeah. I doubt it. It's hard to. It's really
Well,
hard to.
and without the big men that we don't have a Grant Nelson. I when the ball gets inside and Sherrell gets the ball and the defense collapses on him, I don't think he's good at scoring when he's pressured like that. He doesn't have a hook shot. He can't use either hand. He doesn't have that second jumping ability. He can block some shots and go up and get the ball, but then when he comes down with the rebound, he doesn't go back up like a pogo stick. He's not
Yeah.
one of those guys that his second jump he gets. And so a lot of times he gets the ball in the post and then he can't finish. And, that's disconcerting that as big as he is. And certainly Amari Allen and London Jemison are just not big, strong guys in the post. They're wings. They're big wings. They're 3-and-D guys. So when they get the ball in the block, they just don't have those post moves that you need to finish at the rim. So I just see that as a problem. So we just have to shoot out of our minds from three and from mid range, and then get some nice putbacks where the defense over rotated guy gets a rebound, is able to go back up before the defense converges on him. But I just think it's a tough ask for us to make the Final Four this year.
Yep, absolutely. Not as a 4 seed. This is why I keep saying that's why the Brandon Miller year was so devastating because that was the year. We were the number one overall 1 seed. That team had everything, shooters, defense, big guys. And then we just lay an egg in the Sweet 16 to a okay team. I mean, they
They
played
went
well.
to the finals. They went to
Yeah,
San Diego State, went to the final, and I thought they just out toughed us. I
yeah.
thought they pounded us, and we weren't ready to play that physical style of ball that they played, and the refs let them play. And Brandon Miller was a little hurt. And I also don't underestimate the murder that happened in Tuscaloosa that had Alabama players involved in. I think that undermined our team too.
Yeah.
I think there was just that air of uncertainty um, that just hung over that team, and that was a shame. And then the next year we go to the Final Four.
Yeah, with a not as talented team.
Yeah, but we had great team chemistry that year, and everything went right. And when they knocked off the number one seed UNC Tar Heels, they hit the key shots. I mean, when it was
Yeah.
time to score the winning baskets, Alabama did it that year.
Played
Brent,
UConn pretty tough too for a little bit, and then they pulled away. But
yeah, but we played UConn as tough as anybody did that year. They blew out everybody. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, they played well, given that they were overmatched, and yeah,
right.
so that was good. So, I think that. So let's talk about these are things that I think are going to make it hard for Alabama to reach the Final Four. Um, Point number one, lack of size, skill, and depth in the front court, with Sherrell being our only true big man. I think that's issue number one that this team has.
Yeah.
Number two is our inability to stop high powered teams such as Florida, Arizona, Gonzaga, Michigan, and Duke from scoring in the post. Our lack of big men also affects us on the defensive end, is when we run into these buzzsaws that have 2, 3 big men, Tennessee even, they overpower us in the post and get offensive rebounds and score the ball. And we either get in foul trouble or they just outscore us and blow us out. So that was the second thing, is I just think we don't have the depth and strength on the defensive end and the interior either.
Yeah.
Uh, Point number three is Alabama's just inability to score the ball in the paint against teams that have size. Again, like your Florida, Arizona, I just don't think our post guys are skilled enough, adept enough at when they get the ball in the paint and they're closely guarded at finishing and scoring, or drawing a foul and getting to the free throw line, or scoring and drawing a foul and getting a 3-point play. So,
Even Aiden Sherrell to some
yeah,
extent.
he's just not great at that.
No.
And that's where I wish we'd kept Darian Reed. He would help this team.
Yeah.
He played well against us. So, point number four as to why we're not a Final Four caliber team is just rebounding. We just struggle to rebound the ball. And a lot of it is, again, due to the interior post play, but a lot of it also is we got to send 5 guys to the board and we got to block out. And we're just not a great rebounding team.
No, no bigs. A lot
Yeah.
of second chance points.
Yep. And that really hurts us. And then the last reason why I think we can't make the Final Four is, for us to do it, it's going to require that our guards and wings carry us and, just have an A+ game. We're just going to have one of those games where everything's going in, guys are playing like Alabama did against North Carolina to beat them. It's going to require that kind of level for us to get through a bracket and make the Final Four. And I just don't think we can put that together 4 times in a row, particularly against one of those marquee teams, and beat them. We can, but to me, that's why this team's not a Final Four caliber team. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we know we score a lot. We've always scored a lot under Nate Oates, but you know, even last year when we ran into Duke, I mean, they held us like 70 points. We're not going to win a basketball game scoring 70 points. Some teams can do that, like Arizona. All the good teams can win like 72 to 68. I don't think we can do that. We have to score 90 to 100 to beat a really good team. And we're not going to score that much against teams that we'd see in the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight because of our lack of size. And, we can only shoot so many three-pointers, only so many of them can go in. So, depending on the draw, I mean, last time we were a four seed, we did make the Final Four. Um, no disrespect to your North Carolina Tar Heels. They were good that year, but I do think out of the one seeds, they might have been the most favorable one seed to play. Um, so maybe we got lucky there. And then we played a Clemson team who beat us earlier in the year in the Elite Eight. Could have saw Arizona instead. So I
Yeah,
don't
but that
think
Arizona team again wasn't that great. That Arizona team is not this Arizona team.
no,
That
no.
Arizona team had some holes in it and was not as prolific as this one. So
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, that North Carolina team was good, but it didn't have any pros on it. It didn't
Well, I
nobody
would
on
just
that
rather
team.
have seen them than you. I guess we saw UConn later on
Exactly.
and Purdue,
Yeah.
Zach
Zach
Edey,
Edey. Yeah.
and then I think the other one see that year was Houston, maybe. I forget, but um, there aren't any one seeds that I would want to see. I mean, really, any year you don't want to play a one seed, you want to be a one seed, but um, it's the way it
No,
goes,
these are
I guess.
four. These are four to me. Four powerful one seeds. They're all loaded in the front court where we have problems.
Like last year, all the one seeds last year were unbelievable.
Well, no, there was one seed that we beat last year that I would have liked to have been in the region. That was Houston. We match up well against Houston for whatever reason, and we've
Hmm.
beaten Houston a lot over the years. And I knew when we didn't get in Houston's region, we were doomed and weren't going to make the Final Four. Whereas I felt we matched up real. Houston was the only team we matched up well with because they don't shoot threes well. We do. They
Yeah.
play tough defense and rebound, but we were just able to counter that because they didn't have superior post guys, even though they hit the boards hard, but their lack of prowess at shooting the ball allowed us to stay in the game. So that was the only one seed last year where I felt like we had a chance. I didn't feel like we had a chance against anything else. I didn't want to be in Auburn's region. I didn't want to be in Kentucky. I mean, in Florida's region. I didn't. Well, and they weren't going to put us in Auburn's region anyway. I was hoping they'd put us in Houston's region. They didn't,
Yeah.
and that killed
Well, we
us.
beat Auburn that year though, so
I
there's
know
that.
we did, yeah. But I mean, they weren't just because they're two SEC teams. They weren't going to put us in Auburn's region. I
Yeah.
didn't want to play Florida. I didn't want to play Duke. I felt like we had our best chance against Houston. And Purdue almost beat Houston. They had Houston down to the last, you know, 30 seconds, and Houston pulled it out with a great specialty inbounds play to barely pull that one out. But we just matched up well against Houston for whatever reason.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't like any of the one seeds this year. I don't like our chances against any of them. But I just hope we get a three seed and don't see a one seed till the Elite Eight. You have a good night, anything can happen. That's the great thing about the one and done. If we shoot, and I do think if we're going to beat these one seeds, we're going to have to make a lot of mid range shots because they're going to defend the three. They're going to force us, and they're going to have a drop coverage guy waiting at the rim to block the shot. So it's going to be up to our guys to pull up and take good shots in the mid range and hit them, or draw fouls and get to the free throw line.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and that's a tough recipe for us. And that's also Nate Oates doesn't want us shooting mid range shots. So he coaches against that versus that's what I think we're going to have to do against one of these teams. We're going to beat them is hit a lot of tough mid range shots because they're not going to give us easy looks at three. So,
Yeah.
gonna be tough, but I like our chances. We're in the tournament. I think we're gonna have a good run. I just don't see the Final Four in our future.
Nope, I don't. But hey, you never know. It's March.
It is.
I need to do some scouting and find my niche player who's gonna on a 14 seed who's gonna drop 9 threes and beat a 3 seed.
Well,
Hopefully it's not against us.
I think the days of NIL and all the best players being bought out from the mid majors has diminished the likelihood of mid-majors pulling those upsets. Because what happens now is a guy who does really well one year, somebody comes with the check and says, hey, come play in the ACC or come play in the SEC. Or remember Eagles staff last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, now he's at West Virginia.
Yeah.
So those
Axel
guys.
Lindenberg
Yeah.
at
UAB.
Michigan.
Goes from UAB to Michigan. Absolutely.
He's
So I
probably their
think
best player.
So I think it's harder for those mid-majors and those 14, 13, and 12 seeds to get the upsets because all those players get snatched up with NIL money. I mean, look at that. We just pulled Noah Williamson, and we shouldn't have, but we took him off of Bucknell. He should have stayed at Bucknell and, been the Colonial League Player of the Year again.
Yeah.
And we should have spent that money on Yaxel Lindenberg. But anyway.
Yeah.
Story for
if we had the Axel Lindenberg instead of Noah Williamson, it'd be a different story.
Yep. If fans and buts.
Yep.
All right. Any other thoughts as we head into March Madness and the SEC tournament?
I don't think so. I think we'll make the finals. But who knows? Basketball is weird sometimes. You can just have an off night and lose to somebody you're not supposed to lose to. But
well, yeah, we could be matched up against Arkansas in the semifinals again and
lose.
Darius Acuff goes wild and we don't match his energy and we lose instead of winning. So
yeah. We're in the tournament though.
Yeah. Oh, we're definitely in the tournament. Sweet 16. I just don't see us not making the Sweet 16. I just think it's going to be tough for us to make the Final Four.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow, like, hit the notify button wherever you access the podcast. Will K, thanks for being on here. God bless and roll tide.
Roll Tide.